All right, so we're ready. Ivan, why don't you give us the intro? In 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Squares of the Round Table. I'm Jivan Ivan Rivera.
All right, let's start that over. All right, Jeff, you're next after Ivan.
Oh.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
I did it. Did I do okay?
Okay.
What the hell?
Start here.
All right, we're starting. Ivan?
Okay.
Start with this. No, we'll start in res. We'll basically be like, okay, we're trying to start the show.
All right.
Okay, ready?
I'm ready. On your mark. Get set.
What? What do you want to do?
Ivan, give us an intro.
No, this is good. We
Yeah,
start here.
yeah, well,
Welcome to the Squares of the Round Table
I'm
podcast.
trying. Okay.
Welcome to the Squares of the Round Table podcast. I'm Jeff Stein, and with me this week are... Anyone, pick it up from here, please.
Wait
Hi.
a minute. Okay, so you want to do the intro there, Jeff?
No, I want to say, Ivan, you do the intro.
No, we're good.
Okay.
Let's go. What are we going to talk about this week, guys?
Hi.
Here we go.
Greetings
Hi,
and
how you doing,
salutations.
everybody, and welcome to Squares of the Round Table. I'm Jivan Ivan Rivera, and to my left is...
How do I know if I'm left?
Yeah, there's no
Well,
left or right. Or
Well,
the one on the
okay.
left was in the middle, and the one in the middle was on the right.
Pick the one in the middle. There's 3. Pick the one in the middle. I don't know.
Pick the one in the middle. Okay. Well, I'm picking the one in the middle there. Okay, pick it up.
Hi, I'm Mike.
Thank you. You sound so enthused.
Yes.
Oh, no. It's like,
We've been trying to start the show for 2 minutes.
no,
Well-
this is good. We should keep this on the show. We definitely should keep this on the show. I'm sorry. This is awesome. I know people are going to be like, yeah, they're laughing at themselves. Yes, we have to laugh at
I
them.
hope everybody had a great weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Busy weekend.
Yeah, busy weekend before the holiday.
Yeah, I got to fight Dark Jedi, kill stormtroopers, and almost kill entire groups of Star Wars players. That was good on Saturday.
Cool.
Right.
Life was good.
I got to cater to a whole lot of people on Sunday for our final day over at the record store.
Which record store?
All manner of characters came through, friends and people who probably would have never come in otherwise had we not discounted most of our records for $1 a piece. But yeah, it was very active. It was very full. A lot of good times there. The DJs. Shout out to the Rent Party crew. Who did an awesome job of spinning tunes from 1 to 7, and then to my friend Nathan Aguilera and his daughters, who also opened up the show at the record shop, and she did spinning. She was 9 years old. She's 9 years old and was her first actual out. That was very exciting. And, got some information about Little Bub, but we can keep that for a little bit later. So, Mike, what happened in your weekend?
No, it was just mostly work. I had a relaxing day on Sunday. Of course, Friday night, my buds and I, we saw Deadpool 2. That was pretty funny. I liked it. But I'm trying to figure out whether I like it more than the first one. The first one had like a charm to it. The second one was funny for different reasons, but that's fine. It just felt like, I don't know, it was good. I liked it. I'm not saying I hated it, but it was just different.
Was there a
not what I was
continuity
expecting.
there?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Ivan.
Was there continuity between 1 and 2? I mean, did it feel like there was a flow between both elements?
Yeah, I felt there was a sequel. Just felt like some of the characters were there, just seemingly like didn't have much to do. I guess we're going into Deadpool 2 spoilers real quick. If you don't want to listen to Deadpool 2 spoilers, fast forward about 5 minutes from where we're at.
Or I was going to go the other way. Why don't we just go ahead and save those to near the back end, and we can talk about other stuff.
Right.
So your call.
All right, that's fine. We can do that.
I'll just do this now, and then we'll be done. So
Mike wants to be done. He wants to do it.
I want to be done. Finish
He
it.
has no patience.
No!
Don't do it now.
All right, so we're going to talk about Deadpool 2. I guess we're going to do it now.
That's right.
Which means that people are going to have to forward through, which is always a little more difficult, but okay.
I just did the scrub. There's 15-second button right there on the thing, or on the YouTubes, or on wherever your media you're listening to. I appreciate it. We do appreciate your listening.
Yes, we do.
It's okay.
We do, but we don't want to upset you in any way if you haven't seen the motion pictures. So, with that in mind, fast forward now.
What are your thoughts, Jeff?
So I saw it on Sunday. I kind of have the same reaction you do. I enjoyed it, but I feel like, and honestly, I can kind of do this without spoilers, to be perfectly honest. I just feel like the first movie was better. And I feel that way because if you blinked for a second, you missed something.
Yeah.
And I almost wanted it, and really in reality, I almost needed, like, the remote so I could be like, wait, what was that? Go back. I need to see that again. What did I miss? I saw what a friend of mine who is not as up on comic book movies and is not as up on geek culture and isn't aware of certain things. And so I know there were things that went over her head, and I had to explain it later, which is fine, but even at the breakneck speed they were going, there were things that I didn't catch. Like, I don't know if you read about it, Mike. I mean, there were a whole bunch of cameos that apparently I missed. I mean, I don't know if you caught any of them.
What, in the prison?
No, I mean, like, A-list celebrity cameos that were in the movie.
Yeah, I did catch the one, the Vanisher.
Right, so the Vanisher was Brad Pitt, who supposedly did it for scale. And supposedly his big thing, you'll get a kick out of this, Ivan, his big request was that Ryan Reynolds had to come and bring him coffee on the set to do the scene. But yeah, he's the Vanisher. I had to look him up.
And the thing is, what the X-Force, it wasn't what I expected. You know, we knew they were building up this whole thing with X-Force, and it just it was done at one and done in about less than 20 minutes.
Well,
That's not what I expected. It wasn't what I expected. There's parts of it I was like, yeah, okay, I figured that was going to happen with the whole thing with Vanessa. To help, carry, Wade's arc a little bit further and give him further motivation to go fight evil and do good instead of bad, or whatever.
Okay, question, gentlemen. All right, since both of you saw Deadpool and both of you saw Deadpool 2, now, answer me this, okay? Did you find the concentration on the character of Deadpool more prominent in the first movie and less prominent in the first movie and more prominent in the second movie is because the characters weren't as active in the second movie?
There were some characters in the movie that didn't seem like the writers knew what to do with them. Especially Weasel and Dopender. They were just there. And a little bit of Blind Al.
Kind of like eye candy.
They were just there just to spin the wheels and just wave hello to the camera. Pretty much say, we're still here. We're still in this.
So they were just more like walk-ons, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, so I mean, here's the thing. I mean, it certainly was, was it 2 hours of a lot of fun? It was 2 hours of a lot of fun. Again, if you weren't paying attention, you missed something. And I felt like that a lot in this movie.
So Jeff, you felt that it suffered from Rocky and Bullwinkle syndrome?
I don't know what Rocky and Bullwinkle syndrome is.
Okay, Rocky and Bullwinkle syndrome. Fast answer. Jay Ward, okay, did the writing where, yeah, if you weren't adult enough to get the in jokes, you would have
No, that's not what I mean at all.
No,
okay.
No.
It's just the pacing of the film was pretty fast.
Like, literally, if you blinked, you would miss something.
A lot of fast quips from Wade. It was like, wait, what did he say?
Right. Well, not only that, and then on top of that, yes, there were inside jokes that, yeah, there were a lot of people that would have missed them, but even the people who knew them, because of the speed and the pace of the movie,
they missed it anyway.
Caught something. You might know exactly what it was, but you might not have caught it because you were still processing the last thing you heard or saw, and so that made things difficult.
But I still liked it. It had more heart than I thought it would have.
Yeah.
It gave
Oh,
me
no,
it had the feels. I liked it. I'd say 7 out of 10.
I'd go more than that. I'd go about 8.5.
Good.
Honestly, any movie that can figure out a way to use a movie like this that can figure out a way to use a Celine Dion song and 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton.
Yes. That's great.
Absolutely. There you go. The soundtrack is amazing.
Yep.
And not just because Celine Dion did a song. And the funny part is, we all made fun of it. We just thought it was just a prank. No, the song is actually in the movie. It actually plays actually adds to the movie itself.
To the overall feel of it?
Yeah, it does. A few things that, like, for example, Mike, did you catch where Stan Lee was?
No, I did not catch Stan Lee.
Okay,
he didn't even have a line, did he?
No. And they did it in this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
He was in a mural, wasn't he?
He was on a billboard.
Yeah.
During one of the sequences with the whole armored car thing.
Yeah, where they're transporting the kid.
Right, where they're
rescue.
transporting the kid and they're transporting well, we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, where they're transporting all the different mutants. But yeah, so apparently perfect example. I didn't even see it. I read about it later, but just to give people examples of some of the cameos. Obviously, Hugh Jackman was in it. If that was an easy one to spot. You mentioned Brad Pitt being the Vanisher as the character. I'm assuming you caught the X-Men.
Yeah, where Deadpool wonders, why don't I see anybody else in this? And they're all, and Beast closes the door with all the students behind it.
That was
good.
Awesome. I guess Alan Tudyk was in the movie. Matt Damon was in the movie. The director, David Lynch, was in the movie.
Okay.
Like I said, some of the writers were in the movie. Then they mentioned that, obviously, Ryan Reynolds was in the movie. Ryan Reynolds apparently did double duty in this movie. And not just as Ryan Reynolds, actually triple duty. Ryan Reynolds actually played a third character in the movie.
Okay, gentlemen, question. All right, now
Mike, do you know who
I'm listening to you guys mentioning all of these stars.
Wait, Mike, do you know who he played? Who was the third character?
No.
What?
Juggernaut.
He was Juggernaut?
He was the voice of Juggernaut. They made it, they modulated it, but yeah, he played the voice for Juggernaut.
Okay, that's cool.
So,
okay.
That was the big when the big reveal. That was
I had a feeling that's who it was.
Yeah.
So again, back to my question: with all these cameos and all these stars appearing in the movie, was it the intent of the writers to have these people, or did these people actually volunteer or decided, well, hey, I'd like to be in this thing, so they were written into the movie?
I don't know. I think some of it was, what if we could get this person to do this? Like, I know with the Brad Pitt thing, it was, wouldn't it be funny if we could get Brad Pitt to do it? And apparently Brad Pitt's kids loved the original Deadpool and said he'll do it for scale just so he could be in the movie, and Ryan Reynolds has to bring him coffee.
Okay, now here's the other thing. I mean, I know that in certain stories past where, you would have, like in animated films, you would have celebrity voice overload. Did you think that Deadpool in any time between the first one and the second one suffered from that at all?
No.
No, like I said, I mean, I don't know, Mike, you tell me. I mean, like I said, I just felt like the pacing, they wanted to make that an hour and 45-minute movie, and honestly, I think 15 more minutes, and really, in reality, an hour and 45 minutes including the credits, and really, in reality, to me, I think it would have been better if they had added that 15 minutes and got a full 2 hours. I think that 15 minutes was kind of needed. It would slow down the pace a little bit of what they were throwing at us, because there was just so much material, so many funny lines, so much funny stuff.
But don't you think that maybe the pacing was part of the actual delivery of the way the movie as it was intended? I mean, because from what little Deadpool material I have seen, he comes across to me as one of these, Zingam one-liner, fly off the seat of your pants guy.
I'll let you handle that, Mike, because I think,
I was checked on my Fandango stub here, and the movie was an hour and 51 minutes.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. And that sounds about right. Not a minute of this movie is wasted. Not
right.
It wasn't all like, Oh, when are we going to get done? The only thing was the final scene where a certain character is dying, and this joke went a little bit too long. That was like, okay.
Yeah, that
kind of like the scene in The Mask where Jim Carrey, he was the cowboy and the guy's just coughing and coughing and just extending and coughing and just extending and coughing.
That was better than this.
Yeah,
that was better than this.
But no, I didn't hate it. I liked it, and I'll buy the DVD. And I want to get into that.
Yeah,
I have an article about that later. But yeah, it was good. I liked it.
No, I think it was really a lot of fun, and it was funny. It's definitely not for the kids. Do not take the kids. Again, Ivan, the one thing I would say is, yes, Deadpool has a certain style and a certain speed level and all those things, and yet
the pacing seemed a lot faster in this one than the first one. The first one wasn't this breakneck.
Yes.
So do you think that maybe, the director in one respect was trying to, because they saw what they did in, Deadpool 1, was maybe the pacing part of the director's way of saying, well, let's see if we can catch these people off guard and see if they'll get the whole thing at the extent, at the extreme pace that it's in?
I don't think that's the case.
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't have a good answer. Like I said, it's a lot of fun. It's a good popcorn movie.
Yeah.
I certainly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like I said, the irony is if I was going to watch it, it would be because what did I possibly miss? There's some lines in there that are hysterical. It's like the one line where he's talking to Cable, and Cable's like, he's like, oh, it's so dark. It's like the DC movie universe, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So once you get this on DVD, I'm sure, unlike Deadpool 1, you're not going to be doing as much retrieving or trying to retrieve certain pieces out of Deadpool 1 than you would do in Deadpool 2.
If
you had the
Deadpool
DVD,
1 has a lot of great replay value. This one I'm not sure it would, but I still enjoyed it, like I said.
Yeah,
I'm not hating on it.
So here's the thing. We obviously, the other part is when you're talking about Deadpool, there some things that were a lot of 80s references, a lot of 80s references, a lot of hard rock music. Obviously, the one scene, and this is in the trailer, so I can certainly talk about it, where Deadpool's there with the little mini boombox outside of the X-Mansion trying to get Colossus to come out.
He's playing Peter Gabriel in Your Eyes.
Yeah, that was, there's some
interesting.
there's some homoerotic moments between Deadpool and Colossus a little bit, which it's kind of strange yet funny and works. If anything, I thought the interesting part was, oh god, I'm going to have a hard time.
And I had to look at this. One other thing, I have one other point I want to make about Deadpool 2 was that who was Yukio? And so I had to look this up on my phone as my friend was driving us all back from the theater. Yukio was Negasonic's girlfriend, who Deadpool called her Pinkie Pie.
Yeah.
She was, and I had to look it up, and the best answer was an article I found where someone said she's like Surge. Another X-Men, but kind of isn't. So I'm like, okay, but
yeah. Well, like I said, here's the problem. I don't know enough about the X universe and X world. So when you tell me it's like Surge, I'm like, eh.
Okay.
You know what? I gotta be honest. In some regards, it's like, so this is the second major movie that Josh Brolin has been in for the summer. Obviously, he was Thanos and Avengers Infinity War. I think his performance in Avengers Infinity War was better, but this seems like the summer of Josh Brolin. I like Cable. I felt like, I don't know, it was alright. I just felt like they should have done more with it, with him being there. I don't know. I just...
Cable was fine. I liked his motivations. So.
Well, here, also noticing, between what I've seen in Guardians of the Galaxy and Infinity War, and of course what you guys are telling me about Deadpool, about the extended usage of commercial music, from the 70s and the 80s. It seems like that's becoming more and more of a thing with these types of movies, where they're kind of incorporating. Is that, do you think that's kind of a pull on nostalgia value, or do you think maybe that was just something that the writers were just saying, well, yeah, you know what, this would be cool to put here, or they just kind of relive a time and a place?
Yeah, I think it's just an excellent way of setting a mood.
Yeah.
And it's just good music.
Yeah.
I mean,
like the 9 to 5 thing, which opens up the movie, is
world
brilliant.
tour.
I don't know who thought to put the two concepts together for the montage that they put together. That it works so amazingly well. It's the last thing on the planet I would have ever thought of, and I'm like, yeah, that works. That was fun. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot here. If anything, it was funny. Not a lot of Megasonic or her girlfriend in this particular movie.
No, there wasn't much of her in the first one either, but they had just, obviously they were there for the final battle.
Yeah, I mean, they were kind of there. I mean, they
kind of there.
Were less there this time than the previous ones. Yeah,
it was a sequel, and I'd say it was just marginally not as good as the first one, but I didn't hate it, so.
Yeah, and the side characters are good too, you know. The taxi cab driver guy is funny. Blind Al gives a phenomenal speech near the beginning about things, and I was like,
yeah,
wait,
I like that speech he gave.
Good.
That was better than the one like in the first one where Wade is all like, "Oh, Vanessa's never gonna have me back. My face looks like whatever," and she's like, "Love is blind," and he's like, "No, it isn't. You think Ryan Reynolds got this far on his superior acting talent?"
Yeah.
So,
but
right, Blind Al's speech was good. There were lots of. It had the feels. It had enough heart in it.
Yeah.
I'd say go see it if you haven't seen it.
All right, and then obviously we should probably talk a little bit about this. Yes, you need to stay for the credits. You do not need to stay all the way to the end of the credits.
Yeah.
It comes up a little bit through. There's about 3 or 4 scenes. Should we go through them one at a time?
Let's just say it's time travel.
Well, it's not really time travel. One of them, if you're an X-Men fan and you were pissed off about Deadpool's original appearance in movies, in live action movies, you'll enjoy it. Yeah. The last vignette is so funny yet so wrong.
Yep.
So funny yet so wrong. As a matter of fact, so much so funny, so wrong that DC actually Warner Brothers actually, or was it DC, made a statement about that they asked Ryan Reynolds for his Green Lantern ring back. For real. Which is kind of amazing. And that joke's never going to die. I feel like that joke's never, ever going to die.
Yeah.
It's the Green Lantern joke.
Yeah. It's all right.
So, for those of us, we're going to give a little bit of space here for seconds to let people realize that they can come back. You can come back.
Right.
And we're not talking about Deadpool anymore, but as long as we're going to do, we mentioned one particular thing, which is a previous role that Ryan Reynolds has done was his Green Lantern. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. I want your take on this, Mike. Worst DC movie, Green Lantern or Batman versus Superman?
Green Lantern.
Green Lantern.
Green Lantern had 0 replay value. BVS had some great scenes in it.
You think so?
I mean, Green Lantern just seems to be the bastard child of the bunch because it seems like every time they've tried to make a relative Green Lantern
worst DC movie is Superman 4.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's hard to make it Superman 3 because Richard Pryor's in it. Richard Pryor is Richard Pryor. He makes the whole movie. But, yeah, you know, it's real funny. When you really stop and think about it, there's a lot. Outside of, like, even the Batman movies. There's some bad Batman movies.
Yes, there are. Pretty Boy Clooney.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of those were bad. Some of those Batman movies weren't so good.
But you know what's really bad, guys?
What's that?
And you know what's really bad? The newest creation on Cartoon Network.
Oh.
Thundercats. Okay.
Thundercats, no? Question mark?
Thundercats, no. Okay, that's what I got to say to this. And here comes Ivan with the rant. No. No. Okay, look. All right? All right. I mean, I watched the trailer, and I felt like I got a piece of shit on my head. I'm kind of like, what in the name of all things that is animated were these people thinking? You would have thought they had learned their lesson about the Teen Titans, which is also okay. You could go ahead and have good writing to dismiss substandard animation, but you know how much is too much, okay? And the fact that when you had the reboot in 2011 which for some reason there were different reasons I heard why the 2011 reboot did not continue.
Well,
I heard
I'll tell you why it didn't, but you
what?
go ahead.
One answer was that the person who wrote the story passed on and it wasn't continued. Another one was there was no interest in it and there was no product value behind it. In other words, it didn't sell toys.
It didn't sell toys. That's why the second season didn't happen of the 2011 reboot of Thundercats.
So my point is, in its thought process at Cartoon Network, where it seems like they're doing more and more in-house animation, okay, but yet here's Thundercats, and this is Warner Brothers, who's behind this thing, okay? So I watched this animator, talk about, oh, well, this is something I grew up with, but yet, in the new Thundercats, we're going to have this comic element. Thundercats was not a comedy.
Not really, no. It was a kid's cartoon made to sell toys.
It was a kid's cartoon, but, yeah, well, yes, it was a half-hour endorsement for cartoons, true, but at the same time...
Was it a half hour? I thought it was an hour.
Nope, it was a half.
Was it?
Okay, but the thing that gets me is that, yeah, in the original Thundercats, yes, true. I mean, that was typical of, Transformers. That was typical of G.I. Joe and She-Ra and all the rest of it. I get it. But at least there were moments in the Thundercats that you watched it, and it was good. And the animation was good. Filmation good a bit, but still good.
Okay, so I want to stop you for a second. First of all, as much as for a long time I didn't like the Teen Titans show on Cartoon Network. I didn't like Teen Titans Go, but then I realized something, which is this is product that, quite frankly, isn't for me. And given the target range and the target age, they're trying to aim for target ages around like 6 or 7 years old, and that's what they're looking for.
But do 60
those kids? This is what brings those kids in. Now, I can't speak to Thundercats, but I can speak to DC and the fact that, like, for example, Art Balthazar and Franco do that Teen Titans book, which is, by the way, is where they picked a lot of that stuff up from, and those are top-selling books. At the same time, books like that are also how, as a result, they get the kids to come in and try other books that are more for, the older ages down the road. So to me, there's that, and I do see value in it. By the way, that Titans Go show, most popular show on Cartoon Network, and trust me, they'd like to get rid of it because they don't make as much money off of that show because it's technically not owned by them.
That's my point. Here it is. You got Cartoon Network trying to hit the young demographic, so they go yelling to the parents saying, I want the toys or I want whatever that they're selling because they're aiming, for my hip pocket. And, I know in a lot of ways, having come from different animated fields, I mean, I came from the background of theatrical cartoons and made-for-television situations, not necessarily surrounded by endorsement for toys or as an endorsement for toys. Okay, and having been a parent and as a parent, this is this dross that has become the animation of Cartoon Network, which personally, Cartoon Network, the Amazing World of Gumball, I find the Amazing World of Gumball very entertaining. I like The Amazing World of Gumball.
Yeah, but don't you think that that's what they're trying to get to when they're trying to do this Thundercats thing?
No, I don't think they're trying to get to that at all, because you're talking two different elements. Okay, Gumball is funny because it's meant to be funny. Okay, the Thundercats was a kid's story, but it didn't dumb itself down for that purpose. Okay, and I just think that
what age? But like, for example, I remember when I saw Thundercats for the first time, and I can't speak for Mike, but I was probably 10, 11, 12,
right
there. I mean, they're aiming this a lot lower than that. I don't know about you, Mike. When did you first see Thundercats?
Same time it was on the air, back in the early 80s, mid 80s. So
right,
I was like 11 or 12, 13 at the time.
Right. So this is aimed at a little bit lower age level, though, Ivan. And trust me, I'm not 100% defending it. I have my rationale why I didn't appreciate what I saw, and I'm happy to tell you that. But like I said, I've seen a lot of reaction where people are like, "Hey, guess what? This isn't for you old guys. This is for the kids."
I'm not asking it to be for me, but I'm saying as a parent, and as I'm sure a lot of parents.
Ivan, what are you eating?
I'm eating my chicken.
What kind of chicken?
So anyway, my point is, okay, if I'm going to have my kid watching this cartoon and just sitting back and thinking, wow, I watched the same cartoon. I mean, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, is he going to feel the same way about this cartoon? She going to feel the same way about this cartoon? I felt about the original cartoon I saw back when I saw it. And is it going to have any redeeming value? Or is it going to be just a situation where, okay, it's just, let's go ahead and have the toys fly off the shelf with all this stuff at making an attempt to try to make it where, oh, right, yeah, we can't sit here and get crazy with the violence because we can't. Our hands are tied there. So we're going to make it funny without trying to lose its punch. But at the same time, you take so much out of the equation for interest. And also, I know that kids today have the attention span of a flea because of the fact they have the internet, they have their video games, they have their laptops, they have all this other stuff. And up against all those elements, do you think that Thundercats is going to stand up against all of that?
Time will tell.
Yeah, I kind of do. And it's kind of funny because really in reality, all of what you just said really started when we were kids, or at least Mike and I, because I know you're a little bit older than us, but that all started with MTV. When they started cutting and editing things down into smaller chunks of time. And there is a place for long form in television, but they're finding that if you can chunk it in 15-minute segments or 15-minute cartoons, even the Adult Swim stuff has a bunch of 15-minute cartoons. Like off the top of my head, Aqua Teen Hunger Force is 15 minutes.
Yeah, Robot Chicken is 15 minutes, but that's all like skit comedy. It's like 30 seconds to a minute long.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, we're not talking about. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I get where you're coming from. The thing that really bothered me about this is the guy who was the producer, who claimed that he was a fan of the Thundercats when he was a kid.
Right.
And how he understood the Thundercats, and he understood exactly what they sounded like and what they should look like in the feel and all those things. And I'm looking at this and I'm like,
No,
you don't.
No, not at all. It's just another clone of the Teen Titans.
Yeah, clearly no. Clearly no. I mean,
No, not at all.
And I gotta be honest with you, based on what I saw, looks worse than the Teen Titans.
Well, it's because it's that same type of animated form that seems to be garnering more and more appearance and airtime as of the last few years. This fast, this fast and dirty. We can make it quick, and as long as we keep up with the scripts and everything like that, they're not going to know the difference.
Well, hopefully they're going to go in a Steven Universe kind of style arc stories where it'll be kind of tied together, and there will be some actual meat to to contrast the look of the show.
Put it this way: if I was to go ahead, I can easily cross over the characters of the Titans right into the Thundercats and then into Rick and Morty just as easily. See, this is what I'm saying. Or Steven's Universe. Because you look at all the animated styles between all of those cartoons, and they're almost, give or take, plus or minus a thing or two, almost identical to one another. I mean, when does animation come to this? Where we could go ahead and use a very same form of animation, and yet, you know, it all starts to look alike after.
1960s Hanna-Barbera all looked the same.
Yeah,
Ivan.
yeah.
Exactly.
Of course, it was the same studio that was putting it all out. But
And in fairness,
Right.
there are cartoons. Let's be clear. There are cartoons out there that don't look like this. The CW on their Seed finished the first year of the Ray. It doesn't look like that. It looks like what you would look for in what would be a comic book character cartoon. You know, there's a lot of this direct-to-video now of some of these cartoon movies that are amazing animation that defy what you're talking about. So I think it's a different time, because even when you were a kid, Ivan, yeah, cartoons had an acceptance, but not to the level of acceptance that it has now.
No, especially with
no one would have ever imagined that there's an entire broadcast network that has one night where literally it's a cartoon block.
Oh, yeah?
Nobody had that. Not even with the Flintstones or the Jetsons.
No, I know. But see, you're talking at a different time and place, okay? You're talking about when animated cartoons were a staple of evening television. And many of those cartoons, like the Flintstones, Top Cat, the Jetsons, those were made specifically for the adult audience. Calvin and the Colonel was also specifically made for the adult audience. Mm-hmm. And Rocky and Bullwinkle was made specifically for the adult audience.
Were these shows to be watched during dinner time, Ivan?
Absolutely. A lot of these shows, you can Google it, a lot of these shows appeared in the evening time slots between 5 and 8 in their first initial run times. Everybody knows, or most everybody knows, Flintstones was a takeoff on the Honeymooners, and that, you know, the Jetsons were a takeoff on the Flintstones in the future. Calvin and the Colonel was a takeoff of the old Amos and Andy radio show, using pretty much the same scripts, and was written by the same people that did the Amos and Andy radio show. And also Top Cat with Arnold Stang, one of the great cartoon voices, that was also made for evening television, and it ran for a season in an evening slot before it got moved to Saturday mornings.
Huh.
Yep.
I don't remember. Wow. Okay. Well, I again, that's earlier than my time. You know, it's funny though, because I still, and Michael remember those 1960s Spider-Man cartoons that used to get run on Channel 44 when we were kids.
Oh yeah,
The ones that had the comic book blocking about them.
Those were trash.
yeah. Same as the old.
Not that they weren't fun, but it was the same. They would do the same swings or.
Yeah, just
It was the cut and dry blocked. It looks like they just pointed the camera at the comic book and gave you the story.
Well, to summarize the subject of this whole Thundercats reboot series, it's just the pendulum can swing either one way where you go your Netflix Voltron, or this way where you got your Teen Titans Go and this Thundercats series. So
I gotta be honest with you, I'm curious to see where the Teen Titans Go movie goes. That's coming out here in a couple. What is it? About a month, right?
Next month, I believe. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the trailers look hysterical. If it wasn't for how much it costs, I'd consider going. It looks funny. I mean,
I'll go ahead and put my money where my mouth is. I'll go see it. I'll go see it, and I'll see what it's all about because, I mean, I'm going to do some good viewing, in the next month. I mean, going to go see, Incredibles 2. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I got my tickets.
Yep. Also, too, just as far as like my disdain with Cartoon Network as a whole, that's how. Then it's pretty much where it's been going into a hole for quite a long time. I mean, it's not your Johnny Bravo Cartoon Network. It's not your Dexter's Laboratory Cartoon Network, or your Powerpuff Girls, or all the really clever things that they did, back in the early 2000s and the late 90s.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm curious to see. It'll. You know what? Look.
I'll watch a whole episode just for S and Gs. I mean, I'm intrigued, but if it's anything like it was in that trailer, and there are many commentaries that I read after the trailer that most of the language I can't even use. It's so bad.
Yeah, but again, it's all people our age or older who, and in fairness, I would say most kids, trust me, I'm laughing because I'm sitting here defending it. Online, I had the exact opposite reaction, which was, like I said, I don't think this guy who's the producer has a clue what the Thundercats were about, and I don't think that he understands the spirit of it in any way, shape, or form. But at the end of the day, they have a point, which is, you know what? If kids who are 7 years old start to find out what the Thundercats are, there's DVDs of the 2011 thing. There's DVDs of the older stuff from the 80s that have want your kids to get into.
If it leads to that, that'd be a wonderful thing.
Right. And it might. At the same time, if it's not good, kids won't watch. I mean, let's be honest there.
Oh, true. So,
I'm sorry, did you say chew?
True. True. Wise guy. But anyway, but as far as that whole thing is, guys, yeah, I guess, all right, maybe call me a get off the lawn guy for saying what I'm saying, but at the same time, I guess, with so much of the animated form getting, I mean, it gets to the point where I could go ahead and make matchstick figures and get away with it, about that whole thing.
But if it's good, so here's the question: does it matter if the writing's good and it's funny, or the adventure is good, or the concept of it, or what you get from the product, the content itself? Does it matter?
I'm just going on my first view. How
I'm talking about in general, Ivan.
Well, okay,
does it matter what the art looks like if the content is there?
Perhaps, because there are a lot of cartoons out there that were created where the animation was not necessarily great, but the story held its own. Okay, but I in the watching of the Rush, I didn't see that, but that's only just something they just put out there. So who knows? If I see it, an entire episode, okay, I'll watch an entire episode and I'll get back to you on it, and I can give you a better answer, because I'm actually just answering it just on the strength of just the Rush.
Well, I mean, like, for example, okay, and I'll throw like I said, Mike, have you gone back and watched the old like Super Friends episodes?
I've just seen some clips on YouTube, but I've not really taken the time to sit and watch a lot of those stories because, well, frankly, they were a little campy.
So here's the thing. When they first came on Cartoon Network when I was in my 20s, I'm like, oh, this is going to be awesome. They're going to have them on. I can watch them. Because I was so excited that they were going to have this stuff to look at. And then I started watching them. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh. Suddenly they didn't hold up like they used to hold up.
Right.
So,
that's the thing. The analogy I'll put back is going back to the Netflix Voltron. The Netflix Voltron series is as good as the series you remember the original series being. That old show is bad. Some of those episodes are bad. Some of the voice acting is really bad. One just being dubbed. But the new Netflix Voltron is a good story. It's good animation. It's decent action. It's just not that doesn't have that same the 80s series. A lot of them are just they don't hold up so good.
Okay, I'll even go as far as to say, how many times have we seen the gag reels of the Transformers series, and how certain scene checks didn't pan out, and how certain continuity problems had that, and how certain stories were, especially in the later seasons, were almost like under pressure from the toy company to make it more kid friendly.
Yeah, it was under pressure from the toy company to sell toys, and you have to showcase this figure and this figure and this guy and that guy. That's the constraints that they are under. But they're also under constraints from the censorship board about violence and all that.
Okay, so that case in point, which a lot of those standards are still existent today, and especially in our hyper politically correct climate that we live in now.
Oh, absolutely.
And everything. Do you think that something like the Thundercats is actually going to survive under such scrutiny?
If they did the reboot better, if it was on a series that's not held under any restrictions like broadcast television.
Right.
Well, everyone wishes that their favorite thing was made into a Netflix series so it could be totally, in quotes, hardcore.
Right.
No.
No?
No.
And why? Why?
Because I watch the Marvel Netflix stuff and I can't stand it. It sucks. The Marvel Netflix stuff is horrible. I'm sorry. I'm calling it out. I'm just going to say it point blank.
Okay.
I can't see anything. And when I say that, I mean, okay, it's time for us to get into the fight sequence, and now the screen is going to be so dark, I can't even make out what the hell's going on. Okay? The Iron Fist thing was hysterical, okay, where they only had his fist light up a certain amount of times, and they had to figure out a way to make story around it. And it's like, you could tell they were out of budget. I mean, seriously, and some of these stories were long and horrible. Now, if you watched them one at a time, maybe it was okay. If you watched them and binged them, there are entire episodes where you're like, oh my God, how much longer are you going to talk? When are you going to hit something? You're going to sit outside and talk while you're sitting here waiting.
You're going to sit there and monologue the episode.
Oh my God, it's painful. Just like, and it was funny. Me and a friend of mine, Jeff Ibsen, we watched them together, and seriously, the only one that I'll consider rewatching. Now, in fairness, I didn't watch The Punisher, but the only one I'll consider rewatching is the Luke Cage one.
Someone at the door?
No, that was ironically an email that I got. That was an email I got from work, so I'll shut that down. I just said I wasn't, I was all excited for Defenders, but it took them 2+ episodes to get the team together. There were 3 amazing episodes, and then it went back to.
Well, to quote Wade Wilson, that's just lazy writing.
Yeah, well, we don't have enough budget, and the best is with Defenders, they only had 8 episodes. They didn't have 13. Okay, well, here's an idea. As much as it was awesome to have Sigourney Weaver as your bad guy, here's an idea. Maybe you didn't need to pay for Sigourney Weaver. Maybe you could have found somebody else, okay, to be your bad guy who was cheaper. If you're that out of budget, if you can't figure out a way to make this worthwhile, why in the hell am I watching? If anything, I hate to tell you this. I may consider watching the second season of Iron Fist for all the wrong reasons, because Iron Fist Season 1 may be one of the worst things that I've ever watched, to the point of where it's so bad, it's hysterically funny. I mean, he is the biggest little whiny little bitch I've ever heard. I mean, I can't find my chi. Where is my chi? I must find my chi. Oh my God. I am the Iron Fist. I mean, swear to God. It was so bad. It was, and they're...
Were they a parody?
No, it wasn't a parody. It was legitimately a real show. And it's
no, I'm saying...
Go ahead.
Say it again,
basically
Ivan.
you could just turn the sound off and just make more fun out of it that way.
But, and in fairness, I watched Stranger Things, and I thought at first it was just the Marvel shows. I watched the first season of Stranger Things, and you know what? I'm not interested in watching season 2. And all my friends were like, "Are you crazy?" I'm like, "No." Now, maybe it's because I binged it. Maybe it's because I didn't watch them in a casual manner. But when I'm binging some of this stuff that I'm seeing on Netflix, I haven't seen what other people have seen. I've been kind of bored where I'm sitting there going, you could cut like 3 episodes, and we could have done this in 10 episodes. And you're really stretching something out that doesn't need to be stretched out. Get to the good stuff. Come on, let's go.
Okay, here's my thing though. I know this binging thing, has been quite the thing that's been done in the last few years. Do you think it's taken away from the suspense and or story presentation because people are putting it together all at once and watching it all at once and then becoming couch directors and saying, well, yeah, maybe we could have number 1 was great. Number 2, 3, and 4 wasn't worth all of that. Let's go to episode from 1 to 5, and then, 6, 7, 8 was not so much. And then, all right, maybe 10. So if I was to watch 1, 5, and 10, then for me that becomes it becomes relevant.
No, I don't agree with you. And the reason I don't agree with you is when it comes time to binge shows that aren't Netflix shows.
Uh-huh.
Okay? When it's time to binge, I'll just use it. Like, there was, I know what it was. I was catching up on Westworld.
Okay.
I binged Westworld. I watched I watched 6 episodes in one day, and I think I caught up on the rest in another day. And I didn't feel like that about those.
No, I'm not saying you in particular, but I'm just saying, do you think some people do that kind of thing though? I mean, because from what you said that, there were certain parts of Iron Fist that, you could have used, and then there were lots of portions of Iron Fist that, in your armchair director's mind, you're just like, yeah, you know what, they could have done away with all of that and done all of this, and I would have preferred that they would have done more of that instead
in
of
Iron
this.
Fist, I would have preferred they just didn't do it.
Okay, so you just totally dismissed Iron Fist altogether.
Oh, it's bad. It's so horrible. When I say horrible, like I'm watching this because it's just that bad. Let's see how much worse it gets. That's how bad this is.
Okay.
I want to watch it. Let's see how horribly funny and bad this is.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Mike, what's your take on it?
On the Marvel Netflix, or just binging in general, or?
Yeah, just binging in general.
I haven't done it really. I did, let's see, when I broke up with Shelley 2 years ago, I watched Deep Space Nine, but that's on DVDs, but it's still binging.
Yeah, that's still binging.
Yeah,
it's still binging. But okay, so in your binge fest, deeply binging, Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine. Sorry. Old storyline. Okay.
I believe I saw that on Pornhub. Deep 69.
No, I don't think Ivan. We're not talking about the same thing, Ivan.
No, Deep
you're not.
Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine. Well, in your binging of Deep Space Nine, did you feel that same kind of armchair director sensibility?
No, because the show aired years and years ago, so I'm like, this is how it went. I just let it roll.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those guys who's all like, well, if I was in charge, I'd have done this differently. Oh, why did they do that? Oh, that's stupid. Why didn't they just let that guy so-and-so or whatever? I let it roll, man. I let it ride.
Okay, so
whatever happens.
You enjoyed it as a whole.
Yeah. A couple episodes I skipped because I've watched it or whatever, but
I think part of it is when you have these Netflix, some of the thing is this, when you have a series where you know that it's going to be released. Now, in fairness, there's some series, when they do this and they're released in a full day, I haven't seen yet, and maybe it's different with those series. I don't know. But from the ones that I've seen so far, where it's, okay, we're going to drop them on this day, we're going to do it. The difference is you're plotting out all these episodes in advance in a far more calculated way. Matter of fact, what it reminds me of a lot is the whole is something that I've seen in comics, which is when you write for the trade, where it's like 6 issues equals a trade paperback that you can sell on Amazon or Barnes and Noble or wherever the heck you buy it. Where it's like, okay, I'm going to make sure there's enough material so that I have 6 issues so that I have a trade that we can sell. And
much like in the ways of many of the Sunday funny papers, as they used to call them, and such, where you had strips like Brenda Starr and Dick Tracy that ran a continuity over a period of time to the point where they could go ahead and have a complete story over time, and then later on they could incorporate that into its own comic book or its own release later on down the line of that particular story.
Yeah, but this is different than that, Ivan, in the fact that they would release all those things together, and this is something that I noticed that's been more of a thing since the 90s, where with the adaptation, and look, I love Jim Lee. I'm a fan of Tom McFarlane. I love the Image guys that were there. But, okay, here's 5 splash pages, and we only get 22 pages. And it's like, okay, dude, all right, you just spent 6 of my 22 pages giving me splash pages, and you're doing this, while it looks cool, we're not going to, that's the reason it's going to take 6 issues, when in reality this can be done in 4.
Okay.
Well, a lot of people don't buy Lucy's. They're the trade waiters.
Yeah, it's... I can't wait.
You don't think that in the comic book world the singular issue is no longer the thing? They just wait for the trade to come out where you get all these stories in one big bunk?
It's either that or you buy the compendium or the...
No, there's still people who buy the singles.
And there's obviously a growing percentage of people who just are totally digital.
Yeah, they're starting to do that too.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of that.
But while we're on the subject of packaging, I've got an article here from, where's this from? This is from MediaPlayNews.com about how superfans are driving the Blu-ray disc and the DVD market.
Oh, I did see it. I didn't read that, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Shout Factory has created a cottage industry and industry reputation for its catalog, packaged media releases, and pricey box sets. The indie distributor's Streets of Fire Collector's Edition took Best Catalog Title at the 2018 Home Media Awards, while in August it will release the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the complete series, 25th edition Steelbook, a 20-disc selection selling for $200. So Shout, along with its distributors, is targeting a growing lucrative consumer, the superfan. This demo apparently thinks nothing about spending $300 on Warner Brothers Home Entertainment DC Universe 10th Anniversary Collection or $65 on Paramount Home Media Distribution's Twin Peaks The Limited Event Series. So to boil it all down, it says between music and video games, they reach this whole set of population. But according to, what's the name of this person? Kim Bailey, who is the CEO of ERA, which is the Entertainment Retailers Association, says more than 2/3 of sales of Blu-ray discs in the UK are generated by the passionate fan. Superfans are connoisseurs of entertainment. They are passionate about music or film or games and tend to favor the more sophisticated, higher value formats. Now, sometimes, so that's interesting. It was a brief little article, but it's an interesting take on physical media and how we just tend to want it all at once. And there's fans who want the tangibility, not just to get the collector's statue or the special little figurine or the extra footage or extra content or whatever, special booklets that come with it or whatever.
Okay,
series.
well, first off, Shout Factory has blazed a trail, all the way into the music industry. I mean, I remember when T.J. Lubinsky was involved with Shout Factory and the re-release of a number of different music collections.
And a generation ago, we had Rhino.
Right, which Rhino was still a relevant force in the industry. They're not they're a little bit more picky now than they used to be. but you have people like Shout Factory, who would encompass all different types of things. In fact, their catalog is so far and wide-reaching. I mean, I've got a Shout Factory weird cartoon set from them, and they really pulled out some things that I had never seen.
Yeah.
And I was amazed at that, and that they had incorporated all 30 of these animated cartoons into this neat little package, complete with, director's notes and annotations and origins and dates and times and all that jazz. It's a very appealing thing when you say, yeah, I would like to have the 6-year running set of the Flintstones, which you remember I lent you that when Hanna-Barbera was doing that for a long time. They were releasing all their cartoons in that pretty much that same manner.
And a couple of Christmases you got me like Magilla Gorilla and Hong Kong Phooey.
Yeah.
Number one super guy.
That's right, number one super guy.
That's right. And Scatman Crothers.
Scat was the best.
Yeah, man. So that's the thing about this culture where we want it all at once, where instead of just waiting every Saturday night or whatever for one episode to air, the streaming services are releasing whole blocks of episodes where you can just hold yourself up for the weekend and binge.
Which, for me, I guess it was something that I really, really, really wanted to binge out on. I mean, I wouldn't mind binging out on it. If don't get me wrong. I mean, there are things that I would love to see. Personally, I would love to see Ken Burns' Jazz. The series that was on PBS. That would be something I wouldn't mind binging on from start to finish because it's such an engaging story. And just Ken Burns did so many wonderful production things with it, and it kept your interest. The pace was really done well. The production elements were very well researched and thought out, and researched, and it just really was really well done. Something like that I would binge out on. Okay, the Sun Records series, which unfortunately didn't get much past a few episodes when they introduced that. I would have liked to have seen. That would have been had that been an entire series. I wouldn't have mind an entire season. I wouldn't have mind binging on something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
where did that? Was that on? Was that on? What?
That was on TNN.
Oh, okay, that's why I didn't see it. That's why not a lot of people saw it.
Well, they were on that network, and I only got to see like maybe a half an hour clip of it and everything, and it looked really good. But then reading about it later, I guess it kind of got away from its. Well, let's tell you what Sun Records was all about, and they kind of tried to make it this romantic drama-based thing, and then it just started straying away more and more away from what actual events happened, and started turning it into some kind of soap opera, which is kind of sad because it really had a great look and it really had a lot of good things going for it. It's kind of see that it got axed and kicked to the curb.
Well, there's a reason, so let it.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. But binging, I'm not opposed to binging if there's something I want to binge. I mean, I would like to go ahead and, cartoons, I could binge cartoons. But I come from a place where, I had to wait every week to see a new episode about something, or when people would have to wait every week at the theater to see their 15-minute serial, as they were called, SERIAL, of like Batman or Superman or any of those type of
Yeah, but we're living in a different world, gentlemen. We really are. I mean, there's just so much. You gotta understand. There's so many different. As I've said before to people, for all the people who say there's nothing on TV that's any good, that's a load of crap. There's a ton of great television. There's so much available that at points it's all right. This looks interesting. I do not have time to consume this right now, so I'm going to basically record this on my DVR, and I'm going to pick this up later. And yeah, you know what? On the weekend when I have time, yeah, I'm going to watch the things that I missed that I didn't have time to during the week because I had other things that I needed to do. So yeah,
Well,
I don't see an issue with.
no, I don't know. I don't have no issue against recording something and seeing it later. Of course not. I mean, I'm just saying that there was a time and place where you had to wait, but now we live in this accelerated world today, where you snap your finger and you got a whole season at your pleasure, at your leisure, on your time, whenever you're ready to have it.
But in fairness, that's not always true. It's not always that you have at the snap of your finger. You still have to wait for the content to be generated. So at the end of the day, and like for example, and I'll just use this, there's 2 seasons of Stranger Things. I can't snap my fingers and voila, Stranger Things season number 3 is just right there for me. That's not. We're still not at that kind of level. But
no. But I'm saying, but what's available to you, you can get it right now. But what's not available, of course not. What's not available is not going to be there for you.
I want to spin what you're talking about the superfan thing, because this isn't new, and this has been this way for a while now. Which is, it's kind of changed. It's kind of changed so many aspects of what we see in movies and television, to the point where you're getting there. That's part of the reason why you're getting some of the backlash about some of like the sci-fi and the superhero movies and the big blockbuster movie is because about maybe 20 years ago, suddenly Comic-Con became the place where it's, well, we're going to bring our movie here, we're going to get the fan buzz here in San Diego, and if we get the buzz and we get what we need, this movie's going to be a hit, and we're going to make a lot of money on it. And there were a lot of people.
It'll perpetuate the product, of course.
Right, because these are the hardcore fans. They're going to come out and talk how great it was and how amazing it was because we showed them this stuff here, and so they're going to come out and talk about it. So it got to the point where even product that you wouldn't suspect to be there, like the time that Twilight was there. That's the last. That's the last thing I would have expected at San Diego Comic-Con, but yet there it is. But this is not. I mean, this is a trend across the board with superfans. Like for example, I had friends with even Mike. Perfect example. Mike's already got his tickets for Han Solo for this weekend. Okay.
You and Lando are the only one who call him Han.
Fine. But. The Solo movie that's coming out this weekend, Mike's already got his tickets. He's had them for weeks. I'll just kind of wait till when it's time it comes out and see if I can find a time that works for me, and then I'll pop in and see the movie. It's a different animal now. Everybody wants to have these tickets and ready to roll, and we're going to do all this, and we're going to have our seat ready, and all this stuff. And this comes from a set of fans who want that they're being catered to, and I noticed it too in the gaming world, because like Gen Con and Origins, they do similar things at this point where they're catering to these people. I mean, Gen Con gets 50,000 people a day in Indianapolis, and I look at the prices for what it costs to stay in hotels at Gen Con, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, no way, I couldn't make this work. This is insane. It costs way too much money. Other people's reactions are, whatever, we'll room however we need to room and we'll make it work and we'll plunk down the money and we'll figure it out.
Well, that's just like anything that appeals to a mass audience. It goes back to build it and they will come. Yeah, you go ahead and you have a convention that everybody is into. Of course, the vendors and the people that are selling the hotel rooms and selling the food and the drink and all that other just, of course they're going to mark it up 300% because they know it's coming and they know that these people are going to pay it.
Okay, if you say so. I do.
For the most part. I'm not saying everybody follows it, but there are a lot of people that they just don't care. They're gonna pay. They're gonna pay the upcharge of $200 extra a night just to stay for the 3 days. As long as they get to be there for the 3 days of the convention.
I mean, to me, it's crazy because what people will pay for a room to be near the convention and they have no qualms with, okay, we're going to put 6 people in this room that nowhere, shape, and form fits 6 people, and people are happy to do it. Or there are people who, quite frankly, for the amount of money that you could spend right now to go to Gen Con, and I don't even have to fly, gentlemen, I don't have to fly. Gen Con's only 3-4 hours away by car, okay? But I figured out the math if I wanted to go and actually have it as a real vacation where I didn't have to live like a savage. I might as well take that money and go to Vegas. Now, maybe it's because I'm in my mid-40s and I just don't want to deal with that stuff anymore, and I'm not interested in doing this in this manner. But man, I got to tell you, I'm like, I could go to Vegas with this money.
But you got people. You got people that this is their Christmas. This is their holiday. This is their thing.
The word fan comes from fanatic.
Yeah.
Right.
There's people who take 1 or 2 weeks out of the year, and this is all the time they have. And sometimes it's the only time of the year they get to meet their online friends, to go to these events, to enjoy the things that you're passionate about.
Absolutely.
I guess.
So if people want to spend $1,000 on a weekend just to go play board games, hey, you knock yourself out.
Oh my God.
Well, you ought to see some of the record conventions, Jeff. Let me tell you, I can tell you firsthand how the amount of money that changes hands at a record fair.
Same thing goes for toy shows.
Yeah, it'll blow your mind. And you sit there and you think to yourself, especially, okay, good example, okay, when I cater to the guys from England, okay, the whole Northern Soul scene, okay, I had a friend who came up for a weekend, and he came to the store. I invited him to the house here, and he looked at my records, and he's like, Ivan, you could get $50, $100, $200 for some of these 45s in England. And these people, they come here to our country, and they go digging into all of these warehouses and digging into all of these record shops, and people like myself who, can point them in a particular direction as to where they could find something. I mean, they'll blow thousands of dollars in air travel, thousands of dollars in room and board, thousands of dollars to just buy these records that we had here for decades, that were in cutout bins, 50 cents, $1, $1.50, $2. One case in point, there was one record that I gave to my friend, and the sticker on it was $1.99. He took a picture of that and sent it to his friends in England, to the oohs and ahs and the oh shit written up underneath that photograph, saying, you got that only for $1.99. Do you know that they're asking $300 for that record? Yeah. I mean, when you got something you're passionate about, money is not the issue, or how you get there is not the issue, or how you work the situation out is not the issue. Mike knows remember the last year, when you guys were in the hotel, remember what happened when I brought my friend over and everything? He and I, we walked into the hotel, and he snapped a band on a roll of bills that were as big as my hand. And he was overjoyed at the fact that he didn't have to worry about being down that night, that he didn't have to be down on the floor, on the convention floor, that he had the benefit of all of my really good friends, and he was able to take his time, and he bought many things, and we had a good time, and he took me out to dinner, and he really put out the dog that day, and it was. But there are people out there that they love what they love, and money is not an issue of this situation. Again, this is their Christmas. This is their moment to shine. This is their time where they go ahead and they get together with people that they might otherwise only get in touch with over on social media or by the phone, during the course of a year. So you got 50 weeks in a year. Everybody's busy dreaming about it, and 2 weeks out of that year to make it a reality. And for a lot of people, that's a very, very special place. That's a very, very special time. It's revered. Is that a good word?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's an excellent analogy.
I do want to, because we did talk the last episode we talked about, and I kind of teased about the fact that I did want to talk a little bit about one of my favorite shows that has already ended. It is available on Netflix, which is Legends of Tomorrow, which is one of the DC Comics shows. This show is quite a few different characters. It's the team. It's more of a team-based show. It's more of an ensemble cast, and it's based on time travel. Well, this is the third season of the show, and in my opinion, this show, I'll tell you right now, if you are binging it, I think you can skip the first season. Season 2 is a lot of fun. There's some good episodes, but season 3, to me, gentlemen, was really a lot of fun in that it was about how they had to go fix a whole bunch of inaccuracies in time. And the thing that I love about Legends of Tomorrow's guys is that they find ways to use history in unique manners and ways. Like, for example, at one point in the season, they had to stop Gorilla Grodd from trying to kill Barack Obama in the 70s. Okay, there's an episode where Elvis where they run into Elvis, and Elvis has an enchanted guitar that he's using. Again, these are just some of the examples. This season, ironically, in some regards, was kind of a dig at Marvel and the Infinity War because there were these totems, and they all had very similar colors to the stones of the Infinity War, which I thought was kind of hysterical. Okay. Some characters have switched this year. They did bring on Wally West, who's Kid Flash. Constantine from the Constantine series that used to be on NBC was there, and he was a blast. And it looks like he's going to be a regular for season 4, which is great. I'm trying to do this without giving too many spoilers, so that people can go in and take a gander and check this out and see what it's about. If you're aware of some of the different shows within the DC universe, Damien Dark is one of the villains this year. And again, there's a big bad, and in fairness, the big bad wasn't as great as I would like it to have been, but it's made up for by many of the different interactions amongst the cast. Some of the scenarios where they had, like, for example, they had to go chase down Julius Caesar in the middle of a beach party. Okay, just to give an example. The most interesting development out of season 3, and if I had to sit there and call it the breakout character, is Bebo. And to those who watch the show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. To those who haven't, Bebo, the God of War, may be one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Truly hysterical. It comes back as a joke at the end of the season, and basically, to give a synopsis, Bebo is technically kind of like that toy that when you from Christmas that you needed to get, except he looks like a little blue cuddly fuzzy thing who talks a lot and will talk and have certain things that he will say. And accidentally, he gets dropped off in the time of Leif Erikson and the Vikings, and somehow becomes a god. Or he becomes the god of the Vikings, and they go on to take over North America and don't leave. So that particular episode is Bebo, God of War, and it's a great episode. Some changeovers this year. Firestorm no longer part of the cast. I can't explain why unless you go out and watch Crisis on Infinite X, which is the crossover from all the different shows. We did get a couple of new characters here. Some characters come and go. That's the nice part about this show. Is it really, at the end of the day, it's really a lot of fun. They make fun of themselves. They do unique and interesting things with time. And like I said, it's really a show I recommend because it's worth watching. And to me, that's one of the reasons why I'm mentioning it. It is available on Netflix. You can check it out. I think, Mike, I showed you a little bit of the Bebo stuff. I'm curious what your thoughts were on it.
Yeah, so the beginning was that... Oh, I'm getting an echo here. The beginning part was the jingle all the way kind of thing, where the guy's trying to get the Bebo toy, and then then he's instantly transported, where he's in a forest where the bunch of barbarians are running at him or something.
Well, like I said, it's and that's part of these anachronisms which would open up. And later on in the season, they do bring the whole Bebo thing back, and I don't want to spoil it too badly, but they also do some cameos from the DC universe too. This is now the second time we've seen Jonah Hex, so that's kind of fun. Rip Hunter has been part of the seasons. Again, really, they have certain parts of it where they deal with things with the Justice Society, which was in season 2. Again, definitely something I would recommend. Check out on Netflix if you have any questions. And like I said, it's just over. Season's just ended, so all of season 3 is available. All of season 2 is available on Netflix. Like I said, enjoy.
Okay, Ivan, do you have any recommendations for viewing or listening?
Viewing or listening? Well, okay, there's an internet sensation that's been around for a little while. I don't know if you guys have seen this cat. His name is Little Bub. Does it ring a bell?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Yes. Did I hear yes or no?
Yes.
Yes from Mike, no from Jeff.
Okay. Well, Little Bub, this internet sensation, this cat, which I had the joy of actually spending some time with over at Logan Arcade. He made an appearance, for Harmony House for Cats. Okay, there was a big fundraiser, and for Harmony House for Cats, and then there was also the Steve Albini, who was partnered with a company who designed the Hello Earth Little Bub video game, which they did the ribbon cutting on Friday for this cat who suffers from a few afflictions, osteoporosis and such. And of course, when you look at the cat, its tongue is sticking out and everything looks very friendly and everything, has seemed to have taken, the animal world by storm, and now Little Bub has a wonderful cabinet video game machine. It's the only one in existence, and we had it over at Logan Arcade on Friday, and it was packed.
So they're touring this one video game cabinet around?
Right now, they premiered it over at Logan Arcade. I don't know if they're going to tour it. I don't have that information, but all I know from what I've seen of the game and all of the merch that was surrounding Little Bub was amazing. They had a Facebook live feed from his spaceship, a spaceship that was actually built in the lower part of Logan Arcade. And if you were to go to the site and check out the Little Bub website or Little Bub Facebook site, you'll actually see the stream where you see Little Bub in this beautifully done spaceship. I mean, it had lights, it had special effects, it had a monitor screen that streamed what was the expressions of the people upstairs down to Little Bub's little screen in the spaceship. And then we had the cameras that were pointed at Little Bub and then streaming everything upstairs behind the video cabinet. And it was it was packed. I mean, there were shirts, there were buttons, there were patches, there were blankets. There was all matter of ephemera. So yes, if you get an opportunity to catch up with Little Bub, and I'm sure. I'm sure they'll probably tour the cabinet around. I'm sure they will. I don't know when, but if you get an opportunity to check out the game, it's a very entertaining game. It's a very well done game. And then also too, they had Little Bub's music from Hello Earth. In fact, they did an actual vinyl release. I'm holding it in my hand right now. And yes, and it's all the music. It was created in 2017, and it's all the music that they incorporated into Little Bub's Hello Earth. It's really quite cute. You know,
This
it's
cat
really
has
very,
3 million followers on Facebook.
That's right.
Maybe we need
That's
to get
right.
him on the show.
Pardon?
Maybe we need to get him on the show.
An interview, maybe?
Well, I mean, I do have pictures, but I can go ahead and stream some of the audio off of this album probably for the next program. But yes, and it's actually a set of mixes where you actually hear, you know, Little Bub, I think, meowing in some of the tracks. I don't know if it's this album or the CD that they released in 2015.
Okay.
So, you know, so there's a number of different things with Little Bub, but I mean, it was just such a phenomena when I walked in with Julie, because, you know, Julie came with me, and it was just so surprising to see the love for this cat, and just, you know, just this whole thing, you know, that Little Bub has created. This now it's just expanded upon the video game world, and now it's, for me to actually be there in person and watching it happen, it was just the most amazing thing. So yes, if you really want to support the causes of Little Bub, I hope you do. I mean, you know, I'm a cat person. I mean, well, I'm an animal person all the way around. I mean, I've had cats and dogs through the course of most of my life, and yeah, and of course, Harmony House for Cats is in Chicago. It's a no-kill center. They take in strays. They take care of their cats. You know, they have an adoption process. You know, just wonderful people. You know, Google all the information as to where they're located and such. But yeah, it's really wonderful that this type of thing, you know, that happens. That there are nice things that happen on the internet. That not everything on the internet now is, you know, leaves you feeling bad. You know, there's actually some really cool things happening. And Little Bub was really quite the experience, and I was very happy with Julie to have been able to share this time. And I got to meet Little Bub in person. I got to sit with her, you know, right by the spaceship. I have some pictures I got to send to you guys to see what that's all about and everything. Too bad we couldn't have any, you know, video to show our audience, you know, what it is I got to see. But yes, you know, but I'm sure if you go to the Facebook page, it's all there. As far as music is concerned, you know, everybody knows that Guardians of the Galaxies 1 and 2 is out on, you know, out on vinyl as well. And I also heard that there are also going to be some releases on some of the, you know, some of the Marvel movie soundtracks as well. I mean, you know, the vinyl, don't see it going away anytime soon, folks. And it seems like more and more of the presence is being made for records, and it surprises me because I would never have thought that in my lifetime I was going to see, you know, records get the recognition or actually get more attention that they've ever gotten now than they ever did, you know.
Yeah, that goes back to the Superfan article I mentioned.
Yeah.
Exactly, because you had the same super fans with the toys and the movies are out there with the music as well. And I had the joy of seeing one of my friends, Jessica Risker, who I did her wedding. I DJ'd her wedding. Well, I got to see her over at a record store this weekend. I wish I had an opportunity to play this beautiful album she had just released. Jessica Risker, I See You Among the Stars. It's a beautiful album. Get an opportunity to check that out. Jessica Risker. It's her first solo appearance. Singer-songwriter, wonderful work. Got to see her, lovely person. You know, got to experience and, of course, you know, reconnect once again with her and her husband. Yeah, and other than that, as far as any other music thing is concerned, I'm still out there doing some things as far as keeping on with the Keep On. I mean, every Wednesday at Logan Arcade, I curate the Wednesday night DJ parties that happen there. And, of course, Logan Arcade is located at 2410 West Fullerton in Chicago. And every Wednesday we have different DJ programs stemming from house to disco to soul, blues, and to R&B. I'm starting a new easy listening / jazz Sunday set starting in June, once a month on Sunday.
Awesome.
So I'm real excited about that. Then of course, what else? I think that's pretty much all I have in my back pocket. I mean, they got Deadpool over at my theater just down the street. I think I'm gonna take a stroll down there on Thursday and see Deadpool myself, and check it all out.
Did you see the first one, Ivan?
No, I did not see the first one.
No, you don't need to.
So I should go ahead and rent the first one and then see the second one?
No, I don't think you need to see the first one to really know. But it helps between how Wade and Vanessa meet his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are some things that would help. But
yeah, it would help.
Not necessary.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I'll make it a point to just make it a point to just get to my friendly neighborhood Redbox and go get it.
Okay.
Check it out. And then I'll go Thursday and see Deadpool 2, and then maybe we could just recap ever so slightly on the next show, a little bit, and I can chime in on my feelings on it.
Yeah. I'm going to make a point to try out this Netflix Lost in Space series. They just greenlit a second season, and I'm hearing good things about it, so I'm going to give it a try. Also, this Friday, the next 4 episodes of the Toys That Made Us series drop.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing those. If anyone, any inkling of just the history of a toy line, it capsulized into like 1 hour episodes is really great. They did a great job with the first 4, and the next 4 episodes is Transformers, Lego, Star Trek, and Hello Kitty. The first 4 were Star Wars, G.I. Joe, He-Man, and Barbie. But also very informative and very entertaining, so I highly recommend those.
Yeah, I've heard good things. Art Franco, we're talking about that on the All Yeah podcast, and Art kind of designs Migos, where he'll custom do some Migos, and he does stuff like that. So he was really fascinated with it. He said it's really, really pretty amazing. So yeah. I'm kind of I haven't gotten a chance to see them because Netflix isn't something I have that I have at the moment. So when I get a chance, I'll definitely want to check those out.
Yeah.
But,
so that's all I got. Of course, I'm going to see Solo this Friday.
So those of you anime fans out there, if you happen to be in Chicago and want to check out Anime Night over at Logan Arcade, we have an Anime Night every Monday, starting at 6 p.m. I believe. And tonight, currently, they're doing the entire season of Yuri on Ice, which I guess it was a renowned anime thing that they're actually playing the entire season tonight for that. So for those of you anime fans out there, we do an anime thing there. So and we run a different season of whatever we have on hand, and they did USA Yasura about 2 weeks ago. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, what was from the series or the movies or?
Yeah, it was they ran the first season.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was really cool.
Cool.
And
any closing thoughts, Jeff?
I'll probably try to see Solo this weekend. Also this weekend, if you're looking to do a little bit of gaming, I don't know what's really going to be out there, but my friends who do Summer Wolf Con, it's the 26th, 27th, and 28th out of the Pavilion at 5441 Northeast River Road in Chicago. It looks like a 3-day badge is $25, a 1-day badge is $12. I'm probably going to get out there on Saturday. I don't know what I'm going to do about the rest of the weekend. I definitely want to try to catch up and see Solo. And like I said, obviously, our next show is actually kind of the Squares of the Round Table origin show. So really, in reality, we'll have time to catch up on Solo. By that point, Krypton will be over. So Mike, you and I can talk about both of those a little bit.
Absolutely.
And then that gives that. I do want to follow up on a couple things, and I do have some final pieces for you guys. Last time we talked about the crazy people from Wisconsin with the who steal the goat ornaments. Hey, well, you know how I said that the people of Wisconsin just get crazy drunk, and you guys were kind of like, oh, come on, that's generalizing. Oh no, I'm not generalizing. There was a survey that has recently come out, an analysis of 381 U.S. metro areas, the top 20 drunkest cities, and 10 of them are in Wisconsin. Number one with a bullet is Green Bay at 26.5%. The rate of driving deaths involving alcohol is 50.5%, and the estimated number of restaurants and bars are 204 per 100,000 people.
Oh my goodness!
So, followed by Eau Claire, Appleton, Madison, Oshkosh, Neenah, Wausau.
So basically, Wisconsin is the most wet state on earth.
Absolutely. Oh, without question. So, wait, when you asked me the question, I would about, oh, come on, they couldn't have been drunk when they did it. Oh, no, they were drunk. The entire state was drunk.
So, drink Wisconsinably.
Drink Wisconsinably? I like that.
So I wanted to follow that up. Speaking of Wisconsin, and I didn't even know this was a thing. Apparently, there was a Wisconsin man who now holds the record for most Big Macs eaten in the world. Ever. At apparently 30,000 Big Macs. And I'm like, this is a thing?
What?
Yeah, he averaged about 1.8 per day.
Yeah. He's been keeping track since May 17th, 1972, or translation, about maybe less than a month after my birthday, when I was first born.
And this guy is still alive.
Yeah, that's my question. He's alive? First of all, it's a thing. Do you think they get any money for this? I don't think so, right?
Well, unlike something I read on the internet now, I might put Snopes on this because it's kind of out there, but I heard that there are actually some people in the name of science who will pay you $18,000 to smoke marijuana for 70 days.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm thinking, I can just imagine everybody in Colorado lining up for blocks to do this, you know?
Well, here's the thing. The guy claims that his cholesterol and blood pressure are normal. I claim bullshit.
No. I worked at McDonald's. I know how those burgers are made.
You know what? This makes sense, though, because you got to soak up all the alcohol you're drinking all day.
If he's from Wisconsin.
Right, yeah. Well, you got to soak up the alcohol somewhere, so, look at the facts, and that should work, right?
Oh, my gosh. The guy's going to sit there, he's going to eat his Big Macs and drink himself into an utter stupor. My goodness. The guy's going to be a train wreck.
All right. Let's see what else we got. Oh, in other fun news, Hasbro has officially trademarked the Play-Doh smell.
That comes out of the can. You mean that funky kind of putty smell?
The company has announced that the U.S. Patent Trademark Office has officially recognized the distinctive Play-Doh smell as a registered trademark of the brand, which hit stores in 1956. The odor is described by Hasbro as a sweet, slight, musky, vanilla-like fragrance with slight overtones of cherry and a natural smell of salted wheat-based dough.
Well, next year will be HasCon 2019 in Rhode Island. So they can sell cologne or perfume or whatever they want to do, ode to toilette of Play-Doh
flavors.
So, yeah. Way to go, Hasbro. Keep that brand strong.
Their vice president of global marketing says that the scent of Play-Doh compound has been synonymous with childhood and fun. By officially trademarking the iconic scent, we were able to protect an invaluable point of the connection between the brand and fans for years to come.
Okay.
I'm confused.
Why does this sound slightly off on so many levels? I mean, I can't imagine myself using a Play-Doh scented underarm deodorant and going out in public and people say, "Oh man, you smell like Play-Doh."
Well,
I mean, Play-Doh perfume. You're going out on a date. And, you can't help but think, should I smell her or should I start molding her into something?
I'm confused. So they were able to protect the invaluable point of connection between the brand and fans for years to come. Was there somebody else that was in the process of trying to trademark this smell?
I don't know.
I mean, this is crazy. This is nuts. What else we got? We'll save this one for last. This one was kind of creepy. Apparently a cockroach crawled into a woman's ear. It took 9 days to get out.
Ooh.
She went to apparently it crawled in her ear. They thought that they had gotten it all out the first time, and there seemed to be still problems with it. And it took 9 days for them to figure out that apparently there was still a cockroach in there.
Oh, my
But it was dead.
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
Wow. It brings me to this one story real fast of this couple that went down to South America. And I guess they were going through, rainforest and everything. And she had experienced, this sensation of itching inside of her head. And she was, it was driving her crazy. She thought that, she had gotten some kind of an infection or something. And then after she had gone to the doctor discovered two little holes in the top of her scalp where two insects had burrowed themselves in there and were actually, actually living underneath the crown of her skull. So they had to go in and they had to pull these long critters out of her head. I saw this.
I
saw it for myself. It was the freakiest thing I'd ever seen.
Apologies to our listeners who were eating.
Yeah. I purposely avoided the story about the 5-foot-long tapeworm from the raw fish but yet Ivan has topped that.
Yeah.
But it was because you talked about the bug in the ear. Yeah. Also, kind of brings there was a I don't know if it was the Twilight Zone. It was one of the older Twilight Zones or One Step Beyond. One of those old television shows about there was a show called The Earwig, which actually would go up into people's ears and mangle their brains and all this other stuff like that.
Okay.
I still have trouble watching the scene in Star Trek 2.
Yes. Some final thoughts on the cockroach in the ear from and by the way, this story from the Chicago Tribune of all things. Apparently cockroaches have been known to burrow into people's ears. A South African hospital, for example, pulled 24 critters out of people's ears over a period of 2 years, according to National Geographic. According to entomologist Kobe Schall of North Carolina State University, roaches are searching for food everywhere. Earwax might be appealing to them. The comment from the person who had it happen, yeah, it's still a roach in my ear. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
We'll end on this.
We'll end on this.
And this should give you a clue as to where we're going, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh boy.
Veteran receives experimental penis transplant after unspoken injury of war.
Okay.
A veteran.
And how did he lose this thing?
A veteran who lost his genitals from a blast in Afghanistan has received the world's most extensive penis transplant and the doctor said Monday he was recovering well, expected to leave the hospital this week. Saying they wanted to address the unspoken injury of war, Johns Hopkins surgeons rebuilt the man's entire pelvic region, transplanting the penis, scrotum, and part of the abdominal wall from a deceased donor in a highly experimental 14-hour operation. Such transplants can help those warriors with missing genitalia, just as a hand or an arm transformed the lives of amputees. Dr. W.P. Andrew Lee, Hopkins chairman of plastic surgery, reconstructive surgery, told reporters.
So is this guy going to go into porn movies like Mr. Bobbitt now?
Let's see. Hold on a second. I just want to continue to get through this real fast. It does beg the question: Did he get to choose? Did they sit you down and go, okay, here's what's available. We have something in a chocolate. We have something in a white. Okay. We have something.
We have several sizes available.
Would you like the scrotum to be hairy or less hairy, or would you like it?
Or like the scene from the line from Good Morning Vietnam. We got large, medium, and Caucasian.
Yeah, well. Hey, sometimes all of us resemble that. But I mean, seriously. I would love, I mean, don't get me wrong. You definitely want to do this for our veterans. I have no issue with that. But again, there's a part of me where I'm like, that was that had to be an interesting conversation. It's like, okay, now we're here to do your penis selection. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. The scrotum transplant did not include donor testicles, meaning reproduction won't be possible. Wait, this is the best. Quote, we just felt there were too many unanswered ethical questions with the extra step. Wait. Oh my god. Okay, well, that's
oh my god.
That in fairness, the loss of the penis, whether cancer, is traumatic. This obviously, like I said, this happened as part of a war injury. But like I said, I thought this was, when in doubt, whenever I can find something like this that I can put out there, I'm sure Mike's sitting here going, we should have ended the show 5 minutes ago.
We thank all our veterans for our service, and of course, This coming weekend is Memorial Day, so we honor those who have fallen.
In many ways.
Yes, in many ways.
Yeah.
So.
Hold on. I am seeing something here. Finding donors is an additional hurdle.
Yeah.
And the U.S. people or their families who agree to donate such organs, okay, so wait.
There isn't a box on the back of your driver's license that'll say that kind of part.
Yeah, you donate your organs, yeah.
I didn't realize when they said donate your organs, they meant that you could donate your organ.
I think that applies to every usable thing that they could use. Wouldn't you think?
I guess. I didn't think about that. I mean, here's the thing. What if there really is a heaven, and then you get up there and you don't have these parts?
Well, me going there and looking like a Swiss cheese. I mean, it's probably going to be comic relief for St. Peter as it is.
I mean, seriously, what do I do? Do I go to the part store? Hi, I'm looking for a 1972 left butt cheek. I mean, is that where that goes? Is that how this works?
I mean, it would be something. I go up there and somebody is. They have used my appendage down on Earth, and I'm up there, and I start feeling things I shouldn't be feeling.
Oh. We've hit the mark where we've gone far, but I feel we've hit the mark where we've gone.
You can find us on Instagram at SOTRT Podcast. And Twitter as well. You can find us on Facebook, Squares of the Round Table. Any questions, comments, and hey, let us know how we're doing. You can send us an email at sotrtpodcast@gmail.com. We
And
appreciate it.
next week,
We're on YouTube. Smash that like button and subscribe, please. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and next week, like I said, is the origin show. You guys get to learn about how we came together as a group. And then in 2 weeks, we'll be talking about Krypton. We'll talk about Solo and whatever else that's out there and available. Or if you have requests on things that we should be talking about.
Yeah, well, just shoot them to us. Right. All right, I'm game for that. Well, I'm Ivan Rivera.
I'm Jeff Stein.
And I'm Mike Boyle.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care. Have a great Memorial Day.